You usually had to wait for this, now you gotta wait for that.
We're good here. You can go, Alder.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We now call this meeting to order. City of New Haven, aldermanic notice. Tax Abatement Committee will hold a public meeting 25th, 2020 p.m. in the aldermanic chambers, 165 Church Street, New Haven, to hear the following. Item 1, LM-2025-0045, order concerning daughters of Isabella Mary A. Barron, requesting tax assistance on property located at 375 Whitney Avenue, account number 12593. Item 2, LM-2024-0699, order abating, deferring collection of real property taxes from Sherry Redfern on her residence. Thank you.
Nope, that's not it.
Go ahead, Frank. I'm over. Okay. LM number 2, LM 20224. That's it. Let's try it again. Item 2, LM-2024-0699, abating, deferring collection of real property taxes due from Sherry Redfern on her residence grand list of 2023. Item 3, LM-2024-0722, from Thomas Angelini, submitting a petition to the Board of Alders for assistance concerning his salon, Lulu LLC property taxes. These items are on file and available for public inspection in the Office of Legislative Services, 165 Church Street. Order, Honorable Jose Crespo, Chair. Attest, Michael Smart, City Clerk. If you need a disability-related accommodation, please call 3 business days in advance, 203-946-7651 voice, or 203-946-8582 TTY. Public comment, testimony may also be submitted via email to publictestimony@newhavencT.gov before 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Meeting can be viewed on Board of Alders YouTube. At this time, I will take the time out to introduce the committee, starting from my right.
Alder Troy Street, Ward 21. Brian Wingate, Ward 29, Beaver Hills.
Sarah Miller, Ward 14. Amy Marks, Ward 26.
And I am Frank Douglas from Ward 2. So if we could have the first petitioner please step forward, come to the table and state your name and address for the record. Daughters of Isabella Mary and Barron, A. Barron. Daughters of Isabella Mary A. Barron. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Staff.
They were notified. I'll have to contact them again and let them know to be here next month.
Thank you. So we'll move to the second petitioner. Item 2, LM 2024. That's Sherry Redfern. Staff.
I was notified by the tax assessor that Ms. Redfern's mortgage company has paid her taxes and they're no longer a tax liability for her to get a tax abatement for. So.
Leave to withdraw?
I'd be requesting that it be given leave to withdraw during
Thank you.
deliberations.
Thank you very much. Item 3, Mr. Angelini, Thomas Angelini, please. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Thomas Angelini.
Speak right into the microphone, please.
Thomas Angelini, 607 Chapel Street, New Haven, Connecticut.
State your case, Mr. Angelini.
Okay, well, there's a two-pronged situation here. I got my property in the salon reassessed, so the numbers that were sent to me previous were wrong. We also have the possibility that, actually not possibility, that the address that was on the bill itself was spelled wrong, and I never received the bill for 4 years until I actually talked with Don here about this, and I think he noticed that these bills were sent back here. So,
Do you have the documents with
Yeah.
the wrong addresses on?
yeah, they spelled Chapel Street wrong. And the accrued interest is what I'm here to pay my taxes, and I did pay a portion of them, and I have the receipt for that. But the interest got a little out of hand after 4 years, and this is the receipt of what I paid. And if you want to see that.
So what is the actual address?
607 Chapel.
607.
Chapel Street, they spelled Chapel wrong, and I never received the bill.
So this is, says 607 Chapel here.
No, look at Chapel, it's spelled wrong, P-E-L. And I never received the bill.
Yeah.
I'm a taxpayer, I pay my
Don,
taxes.
did you notice that
What's that?
Chapel is not spelled out correctly on this bill?
I have it.
It's C-H-P-E-L, no A in between the H and the, so I don't know. That's,
If I, honestly, if I got the bill, I would pay it. So,
If I may, Mr. Harris, question?
yes.
Good evening, sir. May I ask, how long do you own this business for?
I have it, this Salon Lulu, LLC is 2010.
And between 2010 and 2020, were you paying your taxes on it?
thank you. Any other questions from the committee?
I was just gonna ask, so this is 4 years when you didn't pay taxes?
Right.
And you now didn't receive the bill?
Exactly.
Did it occur to you that there may be, I mean, you knew that you had to pay taxes? but you
The
paid
occurrence
them.
is something that was my oversight, yes, but life is part of, things running around, I got a 17-year-old daughter that, takes a lot of my time. And if I did get the bill, it would have been paid promptly, but I didn't oversight. The idea, again, is my willingness to pay the taxes. I came here and I paid, I think it was $1,120 something. I'm not here not to pay the taxes. I'm just here to see what's, what's a fair.
So you're looking for help with the interest, you're saying?
Yeah, the interest alone it accrued after 4 years on top of it, so it blows it out of proportion a little bit. And also the assessed value is right now is a lot less than, because I'm only one person, one chair, one sink, and I think they probably might have used these numbers when I had a larger salon that was down the street. So there's a lot to look at through this.
I think Alderman Wingate.
Thank you. Thank you for testimony. A question, how did you find out about the actual taxes going to the wrong address?
Well, I think it was when I came here to pay my car taxes.
Mhm.
And something came up and she said, "Oh, you have another outstanding bill." So then I got the information,
Mhm.
and then I was like, oh, wow, I was shocked.
Okay.
So then I came here and I wanted to discuss it because I had no idea why I didn't get the bill.
Right.
And I looked at this bill that I have, you see in front of me,
Mhm.
100 times, and I didn't even pick up on the misspelling of the address until one of the women at the office, one of the women at the office was asking, let me just check this out.
Right.
So she typed it in, and she goes, nothing's coming up with this address. I'm like, what do you mean? And she looked at it, she goes, oh, where do you live? I said, 607 Chapel Street. She goes, oh, it's spelled wrong, that's why you didn't get it.
Okay. So after you found out,
And that day, actually, when I did find out, I paid 1,100 and what's the, you have the,
yeah.
so I'm willing to do what I have to do.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? Alderman Marks.
Thank you. Sir Chair. Just a few more questions. Do you still own the property?
Yeah.
And what would you describe the income or profits, say, last year from the business?
What does it have to do with that? I don't
I'm
understand.
looking for hardship, sir. If there's
Oh, no,
a particular
it's-
may I ask a question? Let me
Okay,
finish
I'm
my
not-
question.
okay.
Let me finish my question. I was asking because I wanted to get to, but if you prefer not to share your income or profits,
Right.
you can tell us you don't choose to
I
share
don't-
that.
I don't
And
choose to
I'll
share.
follow up with
Yeah.
another question. I'm just trying to find out if there's any particular hardship that would keep you from paying the $636.62 in interest.
Well, it's a little bit more than that because it's a 4-year accrued. It's a lot more than that.
I'm sorry.
It's over $2,000.
I apologize. I'll rephrase my question.
Okay. Yes, $2,000 means a lot to me, and I don't think I should have to pay on something that is quite not my fault in this case. Because I am a taxpayer and I do pay my taxes on time. As a single operator in a salon, every dollar counts because the overhead is, sometimes gets a little out of control. So.
And just to correct my question for the record, I apologize. I stated the wrong number. It's $2,269.08.
We get it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions from the committee?
So, one more follow-up. This that you showed us with the 1,000, this also has the incorrect address?
That's when I came down here, they gave me that as the correct
And
address.
did you check before for the previous 10 years that you were at the same address for those 10 years?
No, I was actually down the street until the COVID situation, and I kind of closed my salon down because it was a different address and a lot more overhead. I couldn't afford to keep that particular address open, so I came back to the 607, which was my starting point.
So just one follow-up. So for any of that, I'm just wondering when, we're trying to assess, did you receive any bills?
I got that when I came here.
Yeah, because it would, I see my street spelled incorrectly and I still received the mail, right? There's no other street like this in New
Well,
York.
the thing is, I never got the bill in the first place to see if there was a mistake on it, only until I came down here and then they started looking into it.
So there was a change, just to clarify.
Yes, there is a change, so that I'm gonna get all my bills at
2020.
607 Chapel Street from now on.
But in 2020, there was a change in address, and that's what prompted this? So that's what caused this error when you changed
I
address?
can't tell you that, I don't know.
But
Because-
previous, for your 2019 taxes,
Mhm.
you received a bill at a different address.
Yes, 839 Chapel Street, yeah, you get them.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify with staff, please, because I did not misspeak originally. If I'm understanding correctly, the underlying tax we're looking at is $1,633.26. The question I asked was about the interest which you're asking to be waived, which is $636.62. And we're talking about a total. So my original question was about the hardship of paying $636.62. I don't know if you have the same answer, but I want to retract my correction that I was asking the correct question in the first place, whether there was a particular hardship to paying the $636.62 that you're asking us to waive.
Is the interest, yeah.
Yes,
That's what I
That is
got.
the request, Mr. Chair, is that
I don't
right?
know. That's the total of the tax, it's 2269.88, but the interest we're talking about is $636.62.
If I make it clear, Mr. Chair, the only question before us is whether we're waiving that interest, is that right?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, that's what he's,
Just making, clarifying my
Yeah,
question.
that's
Thank
yeah.
thank you, just want to clarify, thank you, sir.
Alderman Gate.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Alderman Marks, for clearing that. We asking your question again. So just for clarity, God knows just for clarity. Tonight, you're asking for forgiveness of the interest, and that will be $636.62.
We also need to recalculate that the assessed value of my property is much less than the previous assessment also. Because again, when I went from a 6-chair salon to one, the amount of property.
Are we talking about two different things?
Yes, the interest, I am asking for the forgiveness of the interest, but I want to bring up the point that the assessed value of the property itself is much less. And I have another-
607?
Yeah.
Okay, that's of the 607. Oh, okay. Okay.
Staff.
When it comes to the value of the property, there's nothing that the board can do.
No,
The
not at
actual,
For the next time around, is that basically?
the actual going
So-
through that would have to go through the Board of
So-
Assessment Appeals.
Okay.
So we are here
Yes.
with the interest
Right,
Yes.
only.
that's tonight's discussion.
All right, any other questions from the committee?
I don't have any.
Any other questions from the committee?
No questions.
Thank you, sir. That's it. We'll conversate and make our decision.
Do I get my papers back?
Sure.
When will I find out this?
In a few minutes.
Oh, a few minutes,
You
oh.
can stay or you
Okay.
can call down tomorrow. You can stay if you wish.
You stay for 5 minutes.
I think so.
Any other questions? So, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item? Anyone from the public wanting to speak on this item? Third and final time. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak to this item?
I move we close the public portion.
Second.
Seeing that there's a motion to end the public portion in a second, so be it. Public portion is closed.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Discussion.
Chair. Through the chair, may I speak?
Yes.
So the two items that was before us,
Staff.
You need to move each item to discuss it as to what the committee is going to do with that item.
so Chair, I'd like to move all three items,
One at a time.
one at a time.
Individually.
Make
Okay,
an official pass.
okay, Chair,
Do one and two together.
can we do one, two,
You
three?
would pass over. Recommendation to pass over.
Okay. Yeah.
Second.
Second,
It has been moved in second.
Pass.
That we pass over this item. These two
Aye.
items. All in favor?
Aye.
I move item 3.
second,
All in favor? Oh, discussion, I'm sorry. It's been moved in second.
thank you, Chair. I'll be honest with you, I don't think a person should be penalized for something that they didn't get. And you speaking on the third item,
The last one.
the last one, that he got it wrong. they said disallow Lulu. They didn't say Chapel Street, they said Chupel Street. Whatever that was, I can't even pronounce Chupel Street, whatever they spelled. I don't think he should be responsible for something he did not receive. That's my opinion on it. Like he's been paying his taxes all the time. There was a change. He went from 836 to 607. So we see where the problem came in at, but I don't think he should be held accountable for that.
Staff, no, keep going on this one. We'll come back on it.
You're gonna come back to it. Yeah. I'm done.
Alderman Marcus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Alderman T. I respect what you shared, and I will respectfully disagree for the purpose of discussion. I'm eager to hear what my colleagues have to say, but I feel inclined to share my initial feeling, subject to discussion with the board, that I think we're well aware that the law is failure to receive a tax bill does not excuse one from paying the bill. It is one's responsibility to pay taxes regardless of what the bill is received. I find it persuasive that I'm inclined to think that taxes should be paid in this case, given the business had been owned for 10 years prior and taxes have been paid annually. So there's no surprise or misunderstanding whether taxes were due. And upon questioning regarding specific hardship, I didn't hear anything particularly unique in the hardship request, indicating that the $636.62 would be particularly unaffordable. And I think it's important that we create a precedent where business owners are aware of their tax liability, keep track of that tax liability, and do pay their full taxes on time. That's my initial position, but subject to discussion. I'm aware that I'm new on the committee and don't want to overstate my case.
Thank you, Alderman Marcus. Any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm inclined to agree with Alder Marks. I think if it was 1 year and it hadn't been received, that would be very understandable. But for 4 years for it not to be received, especially with an address that, although yes, one letter was missing, I think it's very likely that that mail was delivered. We have no way of knowing that, but whether it was or it wasn't, I think 4 years of taxes indicates some negligence on the petitioner's part. And I think, there's overhead to the city to monitor these accounts where there's interest, and so we need some reimbursement for our administrative work on this, and that's part of that's what the interest is designed to cover. So I think, again, if this was a $10,000 number or even a $5,000 number, it'd be different, but this seems appropriate given the level of the tax and the responsibility of all of us to monitor our taxes and pay them. So I would be inclined to not accept the petition for a waiver.
Thank you, colleagues, for your position on this. My position hasn't changed in reference to. I think that he should not have to pay for something that he did not receive. And hearing your point that we don't know if he did not know or not, but he don't seem like the person that was trying to evade any taxes. He's been a taxpayer in this system for a long time, and to me, he moved, and the negligence became on us. If we think that he was playing games or some sort, I will be standing in front of you saying I think he's playing games, but I don't think that's the case here. My position is he shouldn't have to pay interest on something that he did not receive. And I've heard say this before about you have to pay your taxes even if you don't receive a mailing of some sort, but God knows within heaven, I get a lot of mail, right? And I got to go through a lot of mail all the time, right? Sometimes I don't go through that mail. Sometimes things slip by. But if I'm not receiving it, I'm not thinking about it. So I don't know how we can hold someone to a standard of paying something that person did not receive. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Alderman Gate. Any other comments or concerns? Well, I myself, as the chair, I will concur and agree with my colleague, Alderman Miller and Alderman Marks. We all know we have taxes, we have to pay your taxes. Given the fact that there is, there are things that distract us from receiving our mail or reading our mail. The fact holds that taxes are owed. You owe your taxes, you have to pay your taxes. And if by human error, the taxes do not reach you by paper, you still have to pay your taxes. You don't have taxes. I'm going to agree.
If I may.
Yeah, okay.
He came down here and paid his taxes. I mean,
I'm sorry, say interest on the tax.
yeah, I mean, what he's saying is the interest that accrued, he don't want to pay, or should I say, right? He didn't clarify hardship, but he did say he only had one chair, he has a 17-year-old daughter. He did make, he didn't want to go into the whole how much he make or whatever, but he's willing to pay the taxes. He's saying the interest on the taxes he should not be responsible for because they send their mailing to the wrong address. I mean, really, we gotta take some of that in consideration. I mean, if you don't know, you don't know.
So, Alderman Marks.
If I may, I just want to be clear for the record, but my position is depending at least in part on the fact this is a business and on a personal tax responsibility, with an understanding that businesses should have regular practices of business, making the receipt of mail even less important in my mind than it might be for yourself, as you just discussed how you might struggle with the mail. It's a business, and I view this as a business responsibility. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And I think anyone that has a business, right, sometimes things slip through the cracks. I get that, right? Even personal stuff slip through the cracks. I just believe that this is the person that's not trying to evade from doing the right thing. That's why I'm saying the interest should be waived simply because he did not receive it. So the question to you, Alder, is there any credibility or responsibility on the mistake that was made that it went to another address? Does that hold any weight with your decision? Because it didn't go to his address. It went to someone else's address.
Mr. Chair, through the chair, shall I answer that question, Mr. Chair? I don't
Yes.
know.
We're having a discussion. I'm talking to my colleague, Amy Moss.
Wait,
Oh.
the information of the chair.
Alder,
Are you done?
through the chair.
Yes, Alderman Marks.
Through the chair, if you would like a further explanation of my position, I'd be happy to do so. I thank Alder Wingate for his thoughtful interchange and discussion on this topic. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think for me, the significant criteria here are, as I've mentioned, the fact that it's a business, the fact that taxes were paid repeatedly by this business, so there was knowledge and awareness. My decision is not based on credibility. My decision is not being based on character in any way, but more what I view to be the responsibility of a business and the lack of a particular hardship presented for the failure to pay. And appreciate my colleague Alder Miller's statements regarding sort of the administration and the cost of the system, and the reason we have interest applied for a policy reason, and this does not strike me as a situation that deviates, doesn't strike me as a situation where we would abate the interest that's normally applied for the policy purposes we have the interest in place. Thank you for the question. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to answer.
Alder Streeter?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel that, okay, looking at this and hearing it, it's negligence on his part and it's negligence on the city part. Maybe we should meet him halfway with these taxes. I just don't feel that, you know, it's not like he said he's not trying to get out of paying it. And, you know, being busy, you do forget things, and it's clear that they made a mistake. So I don't think that the city should be off, but they clearly made a mistake. It's not spelled correctly. We don't know if he got it, but we do know that it's spelled incorrectly. So I think we should meet him halfway on this, at least. We have to do something because it's clear he didn't print the thing up himself with the wrong address on it. So, you know, no taxes is coming, and they also should be accurate on what they're doing down there and be, check this out and make sure everything is correct. Because we're clear that when he changed addresses, that's when the mistake occurred. So someone didn't type the address in correctly. We do know that to be a fact because we see it. So I just feel we can meet him halfway. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Alder Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the perspectives of my colleagues. I do respectfully disagree. I think regardless of whether the mail was received, which we cannot know, but I will reiterate that I think if a vowel is missing, it is likely that it's delivered, but we can't know that. If this was for 1 year or even 2 years, I think it'd be different than if it's for 4 years. This is for 4 years that the city not received the taxes. I think in that case, the interest is appropriate. It's not an exorbitant amount of interest for a business. So I'm going to be with respect. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other discussion? Is there a motion on the floor? Is there a motion on the floor?
I move that we vote no to the petition.
Is there a second?
My motion. Thank you,
I'll
Mr. Chair. My motion is that we meet him halfway on these taxes because it's clear.
Halfway on the interest.
Interest, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, halfway on the interest because we're definitely clear of two things. That it was spelled wrong and that had to happen on the city's behalf. So the city has some liability here because, you know, I don't know if you received it or not, but I know it was spelled wrong. And on that ground, yeah, I feel that we should at least meet them halfway on these interest on these taxes.
So you're saying that cut the interest in half?
Correct, that's what I'm saying. Because the city has some liability because they spelled it wrong, we're sure of that. And he had like some liability because he after a while, he figure out, wait, how do you get this bill? But, you know, it's clear that it was spelled wrong.
So the motion goes on paying half of the interest. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Second.
Second. Alder. Oh. I'd like to recognize Alder Moran. Teresa. Alder Moran.
Okay, let me help you on committee, because you now have 3 motions on the floor. So let me help y'all get to 1. You got 3 motions right now. Let me help y'all get to 1.
3 motions we do?
Yeah, you got 3 motions. So let's figure out, let's clean it up. So you all can make 1 motion and decide what you want to do. So the first motion on the Wingate made initially to move the item. That's what the discussion was.
Yeah.
That's the motion that is on
We did
the
vote on
table.
that.
You never voted on
No,
it. You
no,
just
we
discussed it.
We discussed.
And then when you got to the end of the discussion, the chair asked if there was another motion, okay? So
He asked what they wanted to do.
he asked if there was a motion on the floor. And so then we got a motion from Alder Marks, and we got a motion from Miller, sorry. It's the M team over here.
It's all
You
good.
look at it and call it Moran.
It's all good.
It's all M's.
It's a
on this
compliment.
side. Anyway, Alder Miller. And then we got a proposed amendment, whichever motion you all want to work on, from Alder Streeter to okay.
So what's the
So
precedence?
the first motion is the one that takes precedent. That's the main motion, which is the motion that Alder Wingate made initially to move the item favorably. Okay. Now, the motion that Alder Morant, the motion that Alder Miller made was not really a motion. It's really what you're going to vote, right? It's where you're headed. So you don't have to worry about that. And Alder Streeter and Wingate over here are making an amendment to the initial main motion. So what you all can do now is we can work on the amendment. You can vote how you want to vote on the amendment. That'll bring us back after you finish with the amendment to the main motion. So right now, which is the moving. So right now, the discussion is around the amendment to cut the interest in half. And then once you all decide that, you can come back to the moving, to the main motion. All right, so you good? Everybody know where we are? We're on the amendment.
I second it. He made an amendment, I second it.
So you're on discussion, Mr. Chair, on the amendment to cut the interest
So
in half.
we're on this, so is there any discussion about the amendment, right? Alder Wingate.
Yes, in reference to my colleagues' hesitancy to support it at all, I would be inclined to support the half, because I really think it should be all waived, right? But I wonder will my colleagues be amenable to 50% of the interest to oppose to all of it?
Any other discussion on the amendment? Seeing none? All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so
All opposed.
And then all.
Keep going.
now we will move to the,
No,
No.
you gotta ask for the people that are opposed and anybody that's abstaining as well.
so the amendment was
The amendment
voted
is,
on. Any opposed? Any opposed to the amendment? Opposed? You opposed? What about you? Two opposed. Okay.
any abstentions?
Any abstentions? No abstentions. The ayes have it.
Okay.
So moved.
So now you're back.
Now we go back to the main motion. And that is to forgive half of the interest on the taxes owed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it.
No.
No.
You haven't heard from the notes yet.
Any opposed? Two. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. The motion carries. That's it?
Well, we need to go back and get some of
You need to go back to number 2,
Number two. And that is, is
link to withdraw.
that the lead to withdraw?
Through the chair,
Alder Wingate.
Alder, Chair, I move the second item to leave to withdraw.
Second.
It has been moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, motion carries.
Well, we gotta vote.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
All vote.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, so now we're going to the third one?
No, you just did the third one before.
Okay,
Close.
motion,
Close, close.
Motion, motion.
Alderman.
Favorite motion of mine. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. We are now adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well done.